but childhood's desire to enter time.
There are bootleg versions that Omema did in her own book. If you need it. If you want one, let her know. She bought a whole suitcase of them. One is for Simone, but the rest you can have. Camellia is a text and performance worker who teaches, edits, and organizes events. Her work is published by a bunch of different places: 1080 Press, Mizna, cheers from Mizna, Sukoon, The Margins, Poem a Day. Actually, today or yesterday was it? Yesterday. Check out the Poem a Day from yesterday. You'll find on the Academy of American Poets, and you'll find something by Camellia and curated by another speaker of this symposium, Soretta Morgan. Camellia and you will see a free Palestine in this lifetime.
I got to ask Etel in 2018, and she said this. What I also got to ask Etel is about her thoughts on certainty. And they've opened space for me to think about certainty and uncertainty. And I don't know what we must be certain of. But what she tells us is, I will say what comes to my head. I always thought we were certain of nothing. There is a natural diffidence in my person. It is not negative to be like this. It is that nothing will turn out as it seems. I am more aware and comfortable with uncertainty than certainty. Maybe even as a child. I didn't like the nuns in my Catholic education. I had an instinctive rejection. I never believed in hell. It never made sense. We were the natives. They were the colonialists. They didn't see themselves this way, but that's what they are. They were so heavily dogmatic that it took time to absorb what they said. And then the interlocutor said, "Oh, here we go." And then she said, "I like uncertainty. It is not a problem for me. It is the opposite that is the problem. Always when I hear information, I usually have a distance with it. It is not a suspicion. It is not always negative. It is just a reflex. But it started with my childhood because the certainties were overwhelming. If we asked a question, we were punished. They would say, 'You are impertinent. You dare ask a question.' Maybe the certainty they taught us. Value belonging anti-alchemical, water blazing dreams of teeth, Words been flailing, hands flail and form. Goddess aperture, sight of sound. The body forms and forms and forms in a long and brief prayer. Lawlaki ma habbay. O city, Beirut, you are the meat of my planet and of my never-ever homeland. Let me sing. It has been too long since I have heard a call to prayer, the one you muffled, you hear, your head on a pillow, the sleep in your hands and eyes both clutching something, and the man's voice spills into your window, something like sunlight, easy like water, and God shrills you awake. Wherever there is land without God, man makes God, or a bird perches on the point of a minaret and preens. A sun view make you say Allahu Akbar, oracular lighting made of stars, around a uniform, spill unburden, hold a bag up and down, walk a mountain, infinite God made a sphinx, water, the man, the ammo, the woman, the sunset, Aramaic lightning, lithium illusion, Luwian text, bury me, where the pelicans can find me, enshrine my gentlest ancestor, their throne, the ocean. Good morning to you, moralistic magpies tweeting our ears, becoming the hottest at the fascist hotspot. Rejecting connection, some extrication, Christmas music playing in the place, and then the scarecrows, hungry, hungry, on up from past seasons of failed care, the mares, to me, this center, this financial city, a maw of a self withstand such things, horizontal mannequin, solipsistic sleep, when lightning strike me, I follow the path of the seer. Etel writes in her essay, the cost for love we are not willing to pay. But if we do not take those risks, if we are determined to maintain the present state of affairs, playing it only apparently safe. How many true univa I write until I disappear. People on their ancestral land, on their own ancestral land, are given frozen bodies of their loved ones to bury in a funeral that lasts for less than an hour in darkness of night, to bury a child. Not all these bodies have burials. Some are in freezers right now. How do you stop the violence without reproducing the violence aesthetically when you want/need/are dutied, must honor the spirit person flesh, a shakhs, a shaheed? Whose dignity do we assume? Whose dignity do we abnegate? Whose dignities exist most fervently, most truly, most shrillingly in the silences? Etel once said in a Zoom, dignity, which is freedom. These are the Lebanese flags over time. Can you believe? I like this one, this French, like Muslim one with the blue. This is during the French Mandate period. It's so exciting. I wish we would have a fun flag. Etel should paint the next Lebanese flag. Like we can, do a collage. We can make a little mosaic and hide secrets in it. She writes, The mind has to hover above the forests when searching for the river that feeds them. Etel Adnan. Aimé Césaire writes, I am talking about societies drained of their essence, cultures trampled underfoot, institutions undermined, lands confiscated, religions smashed, magnificent artistic creations destroyed, extraordinary possibilities wiped out. Etel writes, we are the scribes of a scattered self, living fragments as if the parts of the self were writing down the bits and ends of a perception never complete. The problem is that, let's skip, there's an ellipsis there. The problem is that we now know the world, especially we know it is known, inventoried and possessed. No land remains unowned, or at least unmeasured by engineers. In 2005, Fawaz Trabulsi wrote, a new flag has yet to be designed for Iraq. In the Beirut Hell Express, Etel writes, my father was Uranus and my mother was Queen Zenobia. I am the initial fish, rejected on the beach, but determined to live. In 1970, my father attended a French language private school on scholarship in northern Lebanon. He was a farmer, meant to be a farmer. My grandfather knocked on the door of the president at the time and asked him to give his son a scholarship. His nickname was Irhabi. Then from Etel's to write in a foreign language. The method used to teach French to the children of a psychological conditioning against which the people thinking that whatever nuns do is the best. So there was a system in all the, against, the method used to teach the French to the children was itself a kind of psychological conditioning against which nobody objected. The people thinking that whatever nuns do is always good and for the best. So there was a system in all the French-run schools which charged a few selected students to spy on the others. Anybody heard in class or in recreation speaking Arabic was punished, and a little stone was immediately put into the pocket of that child. Speaking Arabic was equated with the notion of sin. In my father's school, it was a single stone called le signal. Each student who spoke Arabic would have to pass the stone to the next person who dared speak in their native tongue, and so on and so forth. At the end of the school day, the teacher would ask the class, Qui a le signal? And the student with the stone would raise their hand, Qui te l'a donné? The student would point to the student who gave it to them, and so on and so forth. And what if some humans, we have a little interjection from Derrida. And what if some humans were more worth saving than their language, under circumstances where, alas, one needed to choose between them? For we are living in a period in which the question at times arises. Today on this earth of humans, certain people must yield to the homo hegemony of dominant languages. They must learn the language of the masters of capital and machines. They must lose their idiom in order to survive or live better. Etel Adnan is often described as a cosmopolitan artist whose aesthetic embodies or arrives at a universal humanity. The urgency with which Etel Adnan's cosmopolitanism is named in The urgency with which Etel Adnan's cosmopolitanism is named and celebrated is suspicious to me. Her subject position is not one freed from roots, but rather hers is a subject position that traces her distance from her roots, a subject position aware of the forces of deracination, and a subject position attaching and detaching itself to different practices in response to the changing times and spaces. Rather than eschewing identity, Etel Adnan's aesthetic production emerges from the various intersections of identity at which she finds herself, identity being an event. And each of her works is, I don't know. In 2013, I served as the principal for an Arab-American-run summer school in the Burj al-Shmali Palestinian refugee camp in Lebanon. Our goal was to prepare the students for the high school entrance exam. The only way to be accepted into high school in Lebanon is to take an English or French language exam, neither of which is the student's native tongue, Arabic. At the time, the passing rate for Palestinian refugee youth was less than 30%. At our summer school closing ceremony, one of the students passed me a thank you note. It wasn't written in English nor Arabic, but in lughat al-nat. You guys know the Arabic that uses the numbers? Arabizi, but it uses the English letters, the Latinate letters. What do we call those? Roman letters? Arabic numerals? Lughat al-nat. The language, I explain it. The language of the internet, which is the Arabic language transliterated into English letters using specific numbers to signify the letters that English cannot contain. Wikipedia calls it the Arabic chat alphabet. I regret to say that I could not find the student's letter in my files, but in it he expressed his gratitude, and he told me that this is the only language in which he knows how to write. We asked the students in a survey, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be? One wrote, I am walk in the moon. One wrote, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be? He said, Palestinian. What? 75, 76 years of war? It won't last 76 years. Go. I don't know if you can change it. You can just feel it. Me, I am just working. If I didn't be like this, I'd go crazy. Where are you? You sound like you have visitors. In 2017, I believe I was in Beirut, but I keep thinking it's 2016. But anyways, I wrote Etel a letter I never sent. Etel, I find I have to take breaks between reading excerpts, essays, chapters, poems, pages, half pages, respectively, of your writing. There is so much inside of them that it is like looking in a mirror for too long a time that your face becomes a defamiliarized arrangement of familiar shapes, but each maintaining their thingness, less congealing into one whole thing. Much of it right now for me is your conceptualization of Beirut, this place I have known like a distant grandparent after whom I was named. Your work makes me wonder what it is about the human condition that facilitates the complex tragedy bliss that is Lebanon and Lebanese identity. It is nearly antinomian, but it is also essentially selfish, but it is also a belief, a conviction in a thing, an essence much bigger than yourself. Is it too much for me to say that I am in Beirut's orbit? James Weldon Johnson described New York as a capricious city, and Beirut, she's capricious too, maybe more than New York in her proximity to danger, as adjacent to her allure. Now Beirut feels like she is standing on the edge of a mountain ridge with nothing but sky and sea ahead. I feel now in Beirut I cannot turn my back on the sea because the sea is the only direction one can go if in need of escape. It feels hard to breathe in Beirut now with armed men on all borders, their encroachment a threat but not a promise, just an omnipresent gun ready at all times. At the same once, Beirut is all the light, not the death invisible behind the light you mention. And it is a place I believe I can be happy. The two essays on Beirut and the letters to Fawaz Trabulsi were exhilarating to read because of their resonant truth, but also they were troubling because of the equanimity of Beirut's identities, its split personality and virtue and vice. It is true and false, and it is this ambivalence that I've struggled with in my poetry simply because I feel I have not yet had a life narrated. And I have not had my truth put into printed words on a page yet. It is a chicken or the egg here, I see. I do not have my narrative written, so I struggle with writing the ambivalence, which is more true than one unambivalent truth, and maybe so I need to write both sides. I think this is why your work moves me so, because I see many sides and layers uncovered in your prose. Your poetry rattles me to tears, so I take my time with it. One other poem that exhausted me and brought me to catharsis, I must tell you, like you did in that, specifically the 8th poem in the Arab Apocalypse. One other poem that did this for me was Mahmoud Darwish's Speech of the Red Indian. These poems, yours and Darwish's, my body felt before my mind did. I say that to say I'm making my way through. I've borrowed 2 books of yours from the library at the museum, the Arab American National Museum, and I very much do not want to return them. I still haven't. However, I've done enough unpaid labor for the museum that I deserve these books. I don't yet believe I'm a kleptomaniac, nor do I properly steal on a regular basis. And then I moved to New York. Everybody steals good. Though I probably sound like one, or maybe I've tapped into a simple logic that makes me one, and so I am. Onward to Mount Tamalpais, with love and humility from the airport, but not enough humility to deem myself unworthy to even conceive of communicating with you. I'm trying hard not to deify my lovers and my idols. It's a process. Preparing myself for loneliness, my own apocalypse ahead, escape to the stimulation, material world, the phone, a piece of my brain in it, something, often trying, this body worthwhile, a satellite, a distant star, not my sun, my own sun. Now to Etel, draw her sun, her book, my lap, loneliness, alluvial. I need a friend. This light is the birds, faintly, far, a few trees, a dream. It flooded, the lake flooded, and the bed, water, standing in water. I dreamt, and my heart, I was upset, a direct transgression, not singular, static, and evolves earnestly. In my dream, the virus did not. My subconscious, the random, ephemera, dusty corners, the confrontation I am dealing with now. Etel made me Sufi. And then Giorno got me entry into a Sufi dance class, of course in Manhattan. And we all closed our eyes, a bunch of strangers, and twirled, and I didn't bump into anybody. It was so divine. This is a poem from, so we found this book at East Village Books, Poems of Arab Andalusia, so I think it met us for this time, and so I just want to offer her something from the Andalus. This is from Muhammad ibn Ghalib al-Rusafi, and who died in year 1177. The river of diaphanous waters murmuring between its banks would have you believe it is a stream of pearls. At midday, tall trees cover it with shadows, turning it the color of metal. So now you see it, blue, wrapped in brocade, like a warrior in armor, resting in the shade of his banner. I think Etel was a warrior, and I think what's so beautiful about this weekend Even though she doesn't believe in violence, apparently, according to the interviews. Maybe somebody else can clarify. Maybe that was the public comment. Yeah, I feel like I'm a part of an army. From premonition. There's always a conductive thread through space for an untenable position. In all respects, absence is a porous and arrogant matter. One has to cross one's life again, the one that wants to be ahead. A forest saturated with trees proclaims the existence of a river saturated with reflections. The soul turns into a ghost and runs into the void. The will, reaching its limits, catches up to it. And now the part that I think about all the time. I am not at home. The stairway has moved out. My things have remained up there and winter is coming. A season without my belongings, but I will do. I'll stay with friends if it works out. If not, I'll figure out something. I always have some leftover thoughts, like those who have savings. Time's slowness. So I'm telling you, it's like Bible. Last semester I was here, a season without my belongings. I was a total nomad in New York and my friends took care of me. And I thought about this all the time. These are the skills that we need for the seasons that are to come without our belongings. Like those who have savings. Time's slowness can easily become a crucifixion. Absence too. But after all, which absence? Whose? The worst of all absences is the one of no one. It is when a black hole surges from nowhere and threatens our inner peace, whenever we have some. Galaxies have their own black holes. Truth is the same all over. Science must not replace pain, because when that kind of a catastrophe happens, it has no mercy. Speaking of no mercy, just said over the radio, overpopulation is threatening humanity's survival. We may then wish perpetual warfare in order to control that growth and reach what? The 0 degree of security? Life and death are indifferent in their essence to our calculations. Being and life celebrated a marriage at their very beginning, while death is a bachelor. That's where the difference between them resides. A difference within an absolute interdependence. But with time, concepts just help us to drift aimlessly. Still, it's good to lose one's balance in the meanders of Asia's rice fields, there where light is reflected with tenderness. Days follow each other in anonymity, and the waters, near stagnancy, slip between human legs ever so lightly with ancestral patience. Everyone and everything ages, save the world that remains young, younger than the youngest blade of grass. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Camelia. Can't believe it's almost the end. By the way, when I first contacted Anthony Huberman to host some of the symposium here, initially it was going to be only the afternoons here. And he said, that's a strange idea. You should do at least an evening at Giorno Poetry Systems. It's like there's no natural light. It's like a speakeasy. People can linger till the end of the night. So when we're done, you can stay. People think that I've worked a lot on this symposium, but little do you know how much Hamid Sinno worked on this symposium. On the performance you're about to see, but also on designing, printing, and even folding the posters and program pamphlets that are on the table. If you haven't taken some, both the poster, the pamphlet, everything, take some home, give them to your friends, they're beautiful. And this symposium, they will want to know about it later. Hamid Sinno is a composer, performer, writer, and designer. Their research explores vocalities as sites of political negotiation. They were the lyricist and front person for Mashrou' Leila, which I'm sure all of you know and love. Their debut full-length opera, Westerly Breath, which I was lucky to attend, was in development at the Industry Los Angeles and opened at the Metropolitan Museum here in New York in January 2024. Their solo debut, Poems of Consumption, is a song cycle built around poems written in Amazon customer reviews, exploring the overlaps of consumerism, mental illness, and environmental crisis. Poems of Consumption was commissioned by and opened in London's Barbican Centre in July 2023 and is currently on tour in the US. When I introduced this symposium yesterday, I said how grateful I was to all the contributors because they took the invitation seriously. They agreed to produce new work for this occasion, knowing not only the effort, but also the risk that involves. Hamid, I'm beyond grateful to you for being you, for keeping things simple. and more seriously, for agreeing to take a cue from Etel's work and spirit and trying something new for her and for us. This is Land Without Organs.
Omar sent me this wonderful video of an interview with Etel, where she speaks about discovering new colors, and it just made me want to change everything I was doing. So truly, I've never done this before. The writing's a mess. I'm not apologizing. I'm telling you as an invitation to intimacy by a queer failure, but if we need to make it pretentious, but sorry. Oh, oops, I'm gonna need a bit of light. Eli, sorry, I need to be able to see my pedals, unfortunately. Just like a little bit of light. Sorry? I mean, my hands are going to be busy. I just need to be able to see the machine.
Oh, okay. So save lights on?
Just like a little bit.
I'll use your flash.
Okay, I'm just going to leave this like this and we'll see what happens.
Dr. Nicholas Bebb, who came to the United States in 1920, is going to sing for us a Lebanese lullaby by John. It was set in Lebanon, and the facts connected with the song are historical interest to the country itself. The song was written around the 14th century. يا بنا عنك
الوطن هو، الأوطان هي، الوطن هو، الأرض هي، الأوطان هي، الأراضي هي، الوطن هو، الأرض هي، الأوطان هي، الأراضي هي، الوطن هو، الأرض هي، الوطن هو، الأرض هي. يا بيا على نور عن بيا ولا أمي ولا بيا سرقوني الغار من تحت لوزة مجدية كانت حزة لابن خيي في سرير الخشبية صرت هز لابن بدوان كانت آكل لحم مشوي يضعون اللحم نيا كانت آكل خبز صورتك هتوش في ايديا 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 هيتنا حتى الكنيسة وانا بنت المختفية طفي. هذا أيضا قبر مختوم بالاسترداد والسهول والماء. طفي.
This too will be eaten by storm. This too is not yet ocean. This too is why mother spools clouds of pearl. Why rose and poppy share blood. Why iris holds the self-loathing pupil. Gape, recoil, kicking and howling for light. This is why brown skin wolfs down the sun. Why the mushroom makes communion blessed of the dark hosts. Its wood into weapon. This is why the orchid climbs the minaret, sucking it dry. Faqirs against the hostile architecture of canopy brush. This is why all ends in fuel and ocean.
Stiletto got the sun. I'll blade through ligament, ligature, ligands of spine and trail. The calcified horizon of once was sea. Crash, crush, crouch, goblet on onto boned ice. Crash, crush, crash. The ossified sun into an inkwell. Into an inkwell of spit. Brush stroke, the calcified ego that washes over you alone. But for the panopticon, faster, 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 foster, homing, faster, 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 foster, foster, homing, missile, missile, missing, foster, homing, missile, missing, like, no. A shadow that you can trace if you crush the spine under you. I conquest and coffin not yet covered with ranunculus and burnt soil. Solved into a sun by aptitude. No romance in watching it all. No romance in watching it all. And we feast on a language of it so true, 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 true. The mouthful you throw back up to one's uncertain ray. Did you forget? Did you forget? Did you forget?
Lent is upon us. I have no concluding words. I'm full of gratitude for you all, for all the speakers, for everybody who's helped organize. There's probably still some food. Feel free to have some. Read Etel Adnan. And thank you for being here.